Welcome, everybody. Hey, John, nice to see you joining. Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. As people are starting to roll in, if you'd like to mention where you're calling from or joining us from the chat, that would be awesome. Hey, Erica, thanks for joining us all the way from California. John, our friends down in Florida. Tina, nice to see you. Colorado, we got Calgary. And we'll get started shortly. Just let everybody start trickling in, as Harmony was mentioning. Give it another minute or so. Zara, thanks for joining us. Not too far from us out there in Toronto. Okay, maybe we'll give it one more minute. Hey, Lauren, nice to see you. Thanks for joining as well. Out from Massachusetts. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Welcome to Leveraging Automation in Order Operations. My name is Kyle from OrderEase. I'm also joined by Samantha De Silva from BlueLink. Yeah, I've been with OrderEase, I'd say, for the last 10 years. Quick introduction. Started as a project manager, supplier support. I was putting a lot of architecture together for solutions for companies all across North America, and just now one of the senior sales managers and BDRs here at OrderEase. So excited to have everybody here. And Samantha, maybe about yourself as well.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Kyle. It's great to
Of
be on
course.
the line with you. Welcome to everybody. It sounds like we have people from all over the place, which is great. As Kyle said, I'm Samantha De Silva, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Sales at BlueLink ERP. I've been with the company now for about 13 years, started doing a lot of really marketing-focused efforts when I first joined. I've had the opportunity to dabble in customer service as well as operations a little bit, and now I'm focusing on marketing and sales. So BlueLink is an all-in-one ERP solution. We provide solutions for wholesale and distribution businesses, and the functionality you find in our system ranges from all of your accounting to order entry, inventory management, warehouse management, e-commerce, and we have a lot of really great partners like OrderEase who help our customers grow and streamline their operations.
Great introduction, Samantha, as always. So, today is going to, I think, be a pretty packed conversation. We're here to talk about automation and how it's helping businesses, like everyone in the meeting today, grow without actually growing overhead. What are things to look out for? What are the questions that you're supposed to or should be starting to ask yourself? And a lot of companies are looking internally now and to see, how do we innovate? How do we stay efficient? How do we do more with less at the end of the day? And ultimately, how to make it as easy as possible to get started. And appreciate everyone joining, because you're all taking the first steps if you haven't already. So without automation, businesses are struggling. Now, just some very top level analytics, just to sort of set the stage for sort of the conversation today. 11% of businesses are missing revenue annually. 43%, a massive number, kind of even eye-opening to me, but honestly not too shocking, are actually using outdated systems and processes. 42% face overstocking issues. We're sitting on inventory. We can't get it out the door. How do we make it more accessible? How do we move this product and make it easier for us to sell? And actually 30%, 36% are actually considering leaving their current roles, their current businesses that they work for, due to the poor technology or just the infrastructure that's set, maybe not setting them up for complete success. Um, Manual processes, they still dominate many growing businesses across almost every industry. And I've been blessed to talk pharmaceutical, talk lawn and garden, agriculture, horticulture, and everything in between. And a lot of these companies, if not a vast majority, are facing the same issues, but expectations are shifting. A new tech-savvy workforce is basically joining the workforce. They're demanding better tools. Automation is pretty much no longer a luxury. It's more or less now a necessity. And, Samantha, we hear the word automation a lot in order processing, but what does that exactly mean? And why is it actually such a buzzword, out there?
Yeah, that's a great way to start the conversation, Kyle. So historically, B2B businesses have been kind of slow to adopt new technology, especially depending on the industry. A lot of B2C brands face pressures from consumers to be early adopters of technology, to deliver those sort of exceptional buying experiences. But in today's day and age, those B2B buying habits are actually changing, and those expectations are also evolving. Automation went from being a nice to have to a need to have. And a lot of growing businesses are feeling that pressure, whether it's tight margins, whether it's tariff related issues, whether it's staffing challenges. They want to try to grow and scale without blowing up overhead. So that's where automation essentially becomes a key piece to that puzzle. And I always like to sort of distinguish between automation and integration. So automation is the ability to perform tasks automatically without human input, whereas integration is all about connecting systems so that they can share data and work together. So very frequently you will need integration to help automate certain tasks, but it's important to kind of have that distinction. And as you mentioned, that new generation of leadership, whether it's business owners who are approaching retirement age, or somebody who wants to purchase a business that has been run by the same team or group of people for the past 30 years, this generation that's coming in has grown up with technology, they've grown up with automation, so it really is something that needs to happen. And order entry is sort of a really great place to start. If you want to grow your business, you're going to need to grow your sales. So automating that order entry process is great, especially because in the B2B world, there's a lot of businesses where it's still a manual process, especially if you're needing to bring in orders from different channels. So it's a really great starting point to try to, automate and then leave room for other employees and other people to focus on more meaningful tasks at the company.
It makes complete sense. And you even think of the other side of the coin with the buyers out there. They're growing up with technology. People are becoming more savvy, and we're all shopping on Amazon, and there's an expectation
Yep.
to make these purchases as easy, as efficient, as streamlined as possible, whether it's your personal life, but you're seeing those sorts of methodologies now transferring over to the B2B side of things as well. And even with a very brief personal reflection, I've worked for a lot of startup companies. I've supported independents, whether I'm buying from them or I've made the choices to specifically work for independents versus a lot of the big box. But I remember, starting at a lot of my roles, it didn't have a real CRM system, and a lot of things were, spreadsheets and manual processes, and I'm updating the same thing in 5 different places, but one place got missed, and that's the place where my leadership members are looking. Just all those variables. And new tools take some time, but if you get the support, you got people, backing you up, and they're accessible. Like I couldn't imagine doing my role today as one of the lead BDRs here, sales kind of management members, I guess, if you want to call that. I wouldn't be able to do my job without the technology behind me, whether it's automating my tasks, whether it's my reminders, whether it's just organizing my deals and everything in between. I wouldn't be able to continue forward without it.
Definitely, definitely.
So obviously we want to address, what are these risks of staying manual. Um, you look at companies like the Hudson's Bay, it's sad to say, maybe for our American friends, they may have heard of it, but anyone here from Canada, especially, um, you know, 350 plus year old retailer. It's lost its edge, failed to adapt, and you're seeing the fallout. And it's really sad to see a company with that much history and legacy just not keeping up with the way things are moving. And you look at Gartner, 80% of B2B interactions will be online by the end of 2025, and more and more and more. I'm even seeing, as even today on LinkedIn, I was going through some posts and I came across two or three that were literally talking about this, that habits are changing, people are becoming more savvy, and this is the way things are kind of moving, and we just adapt to it. So, Samantha, do you want to break down just some common risks that we typically, or that you're typically would be experiencing without the automation tools or at your fingertips?
Yeah, absolutely. So for many growing businesses, until they find that right software solution and technology partner, they are left with two options, which are sort of adding more manual processes, adding more disjointed systems, or potentially even adding more employees. And we sometimes see businesses with a combination of those options. So as order volume starts to increase, whether it's an increase in e-commerce orders or an increase in email orders, or you're growing your team of sales reps, so they're sending more orders in. Without automation, you pretty much just need more people to keep up. So that could be more people entering orders from different platforms into your accounting system, more warehouse staff if we're talking about, picking, packing, and shipping. And of course, as you mentioned, that leads to more room for human error or missing data when you're updating those multiple systems and it's not all connected, which can then lead to unhappy customers. You might be shipping the wrong product, or you might be entering incorrect data. As you sort of mentioned earlier too, Amazon has set this example of same day shipping or next day shipping, which creates a new expectation. And that's kind of the norm. I remember when that first came out, everybody was so excited and amazed that we could get something potentially the same afternoon if we ordered it in the morning. But now that's kind of standard. And if you're not able to offer some of those options, then you're going to be left behind. So it usually is when that order volume starts to increase and you don't have automation or the right systems in place that companies start to get really overwhelmed. And then, as you also mentioned at the beginning with that stat, this can lead to unhappy employees. So if they're being frustrated and they feel like they're having to do all these tedious tasks and not able to keep up, that's going to burn them out, and that's going to lead to unhappy employees as well.
And I like personal anecdotes because they're real at the end of the day, and things I've experienced, or my colleagues, my friends, business associates have all experienced. I had a client of mine. They're based out in Miami, so Mr. Kennedy, John, out sort of your way, out in Florida there. Um, you know, they had a literal binder. And the company was so diverse. They were omni-channel. They're doing business on Wayfair. They're Amazon vendor and seller central. They're getting inbound PDF orders emailed to them and Excel spreadsheet orders emailed to them that their customer service is entering. They're working with SPS Commerce through some trading partners, True Commerce, Rhythm. They were everywhere, but they had a literal binder and it was color coded, and I'm talking a tome. And literally, when they would get an order, they had to train their staff to say, "You got an Amazon Vendor Central order? Well, flip to section B12 and follow these 3 pages step by step process on how to access the order, update the order, get it into our systems, update the platform we got it from, bring it back into our shipping system, then reconcile the order back in our finance and accounting systems, and then ultimately get it into shipping and out the door." And I joke with them because really where I step in to shine is say, listen, I'm going to turn that binder into a 1 page flyer for you. Because if you can standardize your processes, automate the tedious components, like Samantha was kind of saying, the room for human error across those multiple steps just to manage that one order, let alone if you got 50 from Amazon that day and 20 from Wayfair and all this, it just becomes a logistical nightmare, to the point where they had staffing issues as well. The director of sales had to step in at the order desk to literally just keep things moving. So again, it had all these compelling events to say, let's just put a simple piece of technology in that's going to remove all these barriers, integrate these workflows, and automate the components that are necessary. And let's just get you some quick wins. We don't got to reinvent the wheel. And I'll always identify to what is most important. What can I give you a quick win on? Where can I give you the most ROI on, like immediately? And that will set the tone for everything else that I plan to do for all the other channels down the road as well. So just real situations that are happening, and that's why I love what I do. I love to help people at the end of the day.
I think we've all seen a version of that tomb you were describing.
Yeah, it's not a fun situation to be in. So, one of the questions that I'm always asking, potential clients or just people that I'm giving advice to at the end of the day, because I'm never trying to sell anybody on anything. I want to help you. And if it makes sense, it makes sense. Or if I can give you some knowledge just to think about, whether we do something today or we do something in 6 months, at least it gets the gears going. And one of the things that I'm constantly asking is I say, well, what's the cost of an order? Most people I talk, whether they're directors, managers, directors, owners, they're like, I don't really know. So, but if you really look at the dollars and the cents, you look at the variables, and this is just a very simple equation. There's some other equations out there, but at the end of the day, if you start filling in a couple of these variables from, labor costs to technology costs to the errors to the logistics to the opportunities to the number of orders you're actually receiving, potentially this could be something eye-opening. If you're doing with 20,200 in monthly cost across 1,000 orders, you're paying $20.20 per order. So, what if you don't have all the numbers? Well, start with the things that you can measure. Automate to produce automate to reduce what you can't measure and evolve your model over time. So it's like I said before, you don't have to just dive headfirst and do everything at once. Start looking for those pieces that you feel like I could fix that, pretty quickly, and that would be a quick win. So Samantha, what do you say to people that worry that, well, this automation could be expensive at the end of the day?
Yeah, so I mean that is certainly true with some systems, and that's why sort of finding the right partner and finding the right system is so important. But it is also a bit of a misconception in the industry, especially when you compare, the cost of getting a new system in place and that time frame with managing manual processes. So how many people do you need to manage order entry if you have a website that people are placing orders off of? How long does it take for that order to get from your website into your system and then that order actually shipped to the customer? If you have customers or sales reps who send PDF emails in for orders, how long does it take somebody to manually rekey that order into the system? And how many more orders or how much volume increase would you need to get where it would just be unmanageable? And then not only how much time does it take, but what sort of time and resources and money are you spending correcting mistakes? So if an order gets shipped to the wrong customer or the wrong product gets shipped to a customer, how much are you paying for that return and having to manage that? And then also the potential of losing those customers if they can go find somebody else to order from. So I do think that it is a little daunting, but when you actually kind of sit down and do the math and look at what time and money you're spending now, it's very, very comparable to working with a new system. And as Kyle said, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you find a system like BlueLink, for example, that provides a lot of automation opportunities right out of the box, and then has partners like OrderEase where they can do further automation with different integrations, that allows you to start small and kind of grow from there. And of course, once you free up time from automating one process, then you have that time to spend on looking at other processes that you can continue to automate, and it's almost like a snowball effect. So it definitely doesn't have to be all or nothing, but it is one of those things that can make a huge difference and will be well worth the time and energy if that's sort of the priority for your business to grow and to be able to grow strategically.
And I use, again, another anecdote that I've done some sales, leadership courses and certifications and whatnot. And I look at it sort of like when you go to the doctor's office, your arm is broken, but your knee is a little sore. You find the things that need to be addressed a little bit more immediately, and you look at just doing those corrections to fix that first thing that's in front of you. Obviously, we're going to be talking about that knee. But what's the priority? What are the things that I can fix for you right now? What are the quick wins that we can get, across the finish line for you? But we're always going to be having a conversation about that knee or whatever else might be coming about because it all ties to the health of you, the health of your business at the end of the
Yep.
day as a whole. So where do you start? And honestly, I'm so excited for everyone that has joined this webinar today because you're doing all the right things. You've joined. This is how you start. You start thinking about these concepts, these opportunities, where internally in the business. And with so many tools, it can be overwhelming at times. But like we've sort of said on a couple of occasions, you do not have to dive in head first. So Samantha, what is the roadmap in terms of a very 3 to 4 step process that someone can start thinking about in terms of starting to look at these pieces of technology internally, at these automations, and just the quick wins at the end of the day?
Yeah, so from a very high level, the first step that you want to do is you just want to audit your current processes. Where are things slow or error prone? Where are some of the bottlenecks in your processes? What is working? What isn't working? And one of the best ways to do this is to actually talk to your employees. This will sort of engage them in the plan to potentially automate some of those processes, which actually has benefits down the road because then they will be more willing to adopt that new technology if you involve them early on. I can guarantee that most businesses, even us can get stuck with this sometimes, where if you were to ask all your employees if there was something that they, spent a lot of tedious time doing and that they would love to have automated, there will at least be a couple hands that go up. So there usually are a lot of uh, employee insights that can really help you figure out, what area do we want to focus on and what area will be sort of that, quick win and will allow us to get that ball rolling. And then step two is looking for those automation ready opportunities. So as we've talked about, order entry is a really great starting point, especially because it's one of those things where once the orders start to come in, you might get stuck and that will affect every other aspect of your business. So if you're not able to kind of get that order entry part down pat, then you may be losing customers before you even have a chance to try to ship them the product. So, starting with order entry or even invoicing or even things in your warehouse. And then step three is to choose a pilot project. So pick what area you want to automate. So for example, maybe you want to automate the process of getting PDF orders into your system. If you get a lot of PDF orders, or you want to try to automate the process of dealing with e-commerce orders. So kind of pick an area to start on. And this is where, full disclosure, you might realize that your existing system doesn't have the tools to handle this automation. But you know what? That's okay, because if company growth and automation are a part of your plan, then it will be time to sort of start looking for a new tech partner to help you achieve these goals. Once again, we want to try to avoid just adding more manual processes, adding on a bunch of other disconnected systems, and really try to find that one partner that will work. And if you do find the right partner, even though technology is changing so quickly, you can, work with that partner for years to come. We have customers that have been with us for 20 years. So it's not like you have to, find a new technology system or partner integration every year. Once you find one that will work, they will help you grow and they will, keep giving you the functionality that you need.
It's the partner provider mentality. That's why I love, companies like Blue Link, and I'm so blessed to be working here, is that we really want to partner with these companies. We don't just want to provide you a system and say best of luck. And like with your current processes, the bottlenecks. If order data, let's say, is moving between hands and someone's keying the same thing in a few times, there's a bottleneck right there, something prone for improvements. Find automation ready opportunities, like you said, Samantha. Order entry, that's the easiest, probably one of the easiest ones, to start looking at some automations around. The pilot project, you said, emailed orders, e-com orders, EDI orders. I always present very quick wins to all my clients. If you're getting PDF orders that are being sent in already generated from your customer systems, that's a quick win. There's no change management involved in that in terms of training your staff on new processes or telling your customers even that they've got to do some new processes. It's the same with EDI. You're going into SPS, you're going into other vans that are out there, grabbing orders, moving it between systems, and going back. And you're getting charged probably at every step of the way for each of those steps as well. But those are quick wins. If we can pull information and orders and correspondence between the systems, there's no change management. If you're a rock star in Blue Link, if you're a rock star in your ERP, your shipping system, you know, we're trying to mitigate a lot of this change management, and get the quick wins. But at the end of the day, empower your current team. This is not a rip and replace. If things are working, enhance what's working. And
Yeah.
like Samantha said, great leaders invest in the tools and help their people grow. If It's the same thing day after day, manual data work, day in and day out for certain employees. If you came to them, empowered them, and showed them, hey, we're going to invest in you with the right tools so you can grow here and move up and move forward with us, they're going to appreciate that, at the end of the day. And I know I certainly have with all the support that I've received from everybody here, at least at OrderEase as well, personally and professionally. So you want to love where you work at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So the automation tech stack, the right integrations for the job. So, a lot of companies start with entry level accounting systems. They work, they do the job for where you're at, but you'll hit that fork in the road where they're just going to hit critical mass and won't scale well. There are tools out there, iPass tools, Zapier, Celigo, um, that do integrations or channel integrations. But if you're team are not a full team of developers or very, very tech savvy, or if you really don't want to be put in the situation where every single time you need something connected, you got to reintegrate directly into your internal systems, there's a lot of room for error, a lot of room for unnecessary complexities and just extended timelines. So, Samantha, what are your thoughts on finding the right fit?
Yeah, so I mean, you definitely want to find a solution that can understand your needs. So there's a lot of different technology offerings in the market, and to be honest, a lot of them have very similar functionality. There's accounting best practices and there's accounting legal guidelines, so there's not a lot of deviation when it comes to that kind of functionality. So that's where you really want to find somebody who you trust as a partner, who you feel kind of understands your industry or understands your company size, and take advantage of the knowledge that they have. They will have worked with other companies in that same industry or space. So they will already know where there could be some easy wins and what has worked and what their customers have seen successful. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. And then also look for those software partners that have a lot of integrations already set up. And if they don't have a current integration, you want to check that they have a partner that can do that integration. So we're constantly taking advantage of all the integrations that OrderEase has done so that when we have a customer who comes to us and says, hey, I want to integrate with this marketplace, we can turn to the OrderEase team and find out that it's already been done. And it's just as easy as kind of, turning that on for this new customer. So that's really sort of the benefit with one, finding an all-in-one ERP is that all those processes are connected. The second the sales order is created, that inventory is being automatically updated, the invoice is being generated, and even the process of shipping with that packing slip being sent to the warehouse can be triggered without needing manual intervention. And all of this ties into not only, making fewer mistakes and having fewer people on the team doing those manual tasks, but it also relates back to having better customer service and also having real-time insights into your operations. You'll be able to better see what's happening in your business in terms of being able to spot trends or forecast demand and make smarter decisions because everything is all connected and the data is flowing seamlessly. So it really makes it easy to kind of prepare for the future and scale as you grow. So whether you're dealing with 10 orders a day or 100, those systems will help scale with you and you'll be able to get the insights that you need to make those smart decisions.
And you imagine diving into the drop shipping space with all these marketplaces. Look at Lowe's announcement as well through Miracle with their big push to the marketplace. If you're starting to get into that realm and you're doing onesie twosies of, five $20 orders, but you're getting 500, a week, you got to have some automation versus having to do manual entry on a $5 Christmas ornament order or a $5 pillow order if that's what you're supplying. But you think of it like this, really boil it down, the trifecta of success. You got to an outstanding ERP that you've selected like BlueLink. You've got an order management tool that integrates like OrderEase, and you need a solid shipping and WMS side of things, whether it's homegrown into the ERP or it's a trusted provider that you're going with. And one of the big value props that I'm giving, all of my clients, integrating their BlueLink systems or with their order management through OrderEase and shipping is I'm trying to give value, not just to, oh, I'm going to give value to your customer. I'm going to give value to your ops team. I'm going to give value to the leadership. I wanted this ripple effect of value that comes through the entire organization, because if order management is streamlined, your operations team is singing the same hymn and they're lean and mean. If your ERP and accounting system is, singing the same hymn, your finance team is not pulling their hair out because the numbers aren't lining up and, invoices aren't accurate and all those things. And with shipping and WMS, if you've got your warehouse team that are streamlined, they know they've got an optimized process for pick, pack, shipping, getting the carrier, the tracking out the door, and everyone sticks to their lane with the system that they're comfortable with, but they're all talking to one another, you've got something there, definitely. Um, and just a couple again, I love real world examples. I'm blessed to be working with so many different types of companies, so many industries all across, North America and some international as well. But companies, like this one in footwear, local here in Canada. Inbound PDF orders from a couple different trading partners. They did the Costco Roadshow as well, which was kind of funny. Costco was sending them PDF orders. Mr. Safety shoes as well, PDF orders, and they just said, you know what, we just don't want to touch these anymore. It's not worth our time. They're a lean and mean company as well operationally, but their order management personnel was like, I got 50 million other things I'd rather be doing. So I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to map those PDFs. As soon as they're emailed in, they're going to automate and become standardized in your OrderEase account. So whether it's a Mr. Safety shoes or a Costco or anything else, every order, once it hits the system, they're all going to look and feel the same. And then it lines up with systems like BlueLink so they can be automated. Even another one actually out in California, they're receiving Excel orders, they're receiving PDFs, they've got, 10 trading partners through SPS, they've got 5 through True Commerce, they've got a number of them through Rhythm, and they're like, we just can't keep logging in and logging out and having to change based on what our customers are telling us to do. I'd rather just plug in our systems and we keep our process, but it accommodates our customers' process as well. And that was a great solution with a California-based furniture company that I put into place, just because they were so diverse and they hit that critical mass last year. So, that came about with, I think, some very successful ROI. But you need process, you need automations in the right spots. People are always going to be present. You wouldn't have a company without great people, but you need to have the tools to make it all come full circle, I guess you could say. So, you know, as a quick recap, BlueLink and OrderEase are here to help scale smart with the right tools and the right support. At the end of the day, we're all people. We don't want to be sold. We want to be helped. We want guidance. We want someone we can lean on. We can ask for advice. That's exactly why companies like BlueLink, OrderEase, Samantha, and myself are here. Samantha, do you have any sort of final comments? Anything you'd like to add? Just as some closing remarks as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to say you were making me think, Kyle, that the technology is already there. So the ability to map fields and standardize different invoices and sales orders, like you were saying, and then map those fields with the fields that already exist in BlueLink or other ERP systems. That part is easy. The hard part is kind of finding that partner who understands your needs. So the technology piece is already there. It's already in place. It's already something that is being updated as industry standards change. So it's just important to kind of take that first step and really find that partner and that piece of technology that will work. And we've talked a lot today about order entry, but there's so many other, examples for automation out there. So the possibilities are endless. And like I said, once you kind of get that one automation piece down pat, it'll just snowball from there. So really, finding the right partner and the different integrations is a great starting point, and that will lead you on the road to success.
100%. Hey, and you know what? You could have a golf cart or you can have a comfortable family sedan. Only one's going on the highway. At the end of the day. So, the golf cart being the manual process, it'll get you to B. It's going to take you a while to get there. So if you're looking to explore automation, you're starting to have the gears turning and thinking of, okay, maybe there's some quick wins. Maybe there's places that we can start. Let's talk. You can certainly book time with Samantha. I know her contact information's up on the screen there, and I know we'll be sending sort of the recording out to all the attendees and the information to get in touch. But if it's anything internal and looking to find that crucial system, I'm sure Samantha and her team will be more than happy to talk, give you advice. Things to be sensitive to look out for, and really, could BlueLink be a great next step for any business that's attending the webinar? And from our perspective here at OrderEase, I'm definitely accessible. Can set up time to talk. You can outline your processes, the current systems, places you think there could be improvements, or if you just want to pick my brain, what have other customers done with trying to automate EDI. How did they get started with EDI and started to make that efficient for their first two trading partners? I'm always willing to have those conversations, see how I can help at the end of the day.
Yeah. So there is a question here in the comments, Kyle. I can read it out, and maybe you can answer, and I can jump in if you want me to.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So Lauren is asking, what about smaller customers that aren't EDI and send emails or emailed POs, or even customers that call in?
Yeah, so the customers that aren't EDI but sending emails or so emails are a little bit tricky, especially if they're typed. I know OrderEase, AI is coming more and more and more and more tools, but there's a lot of gray area in a typed email, especially knowing what to pick up, what's to be mapped, and those things. But that are sending emailed POs, let's say, attached PDF or Excel. It's as simple as sending, OrderEase 2 or 3 examples. We go through it. We'll even give you recommendations on how to make that PDF, if it's one that they're filling from you, that you're providing, as best as it can be for the automations. But we just do a simple mapping. And then as soon as they're emailed in, our system is smart enough to say, oh, you got an attached PO from, Kyle's pharmaceutical company, Kyle's farm and ag supply, uh, brings it into OrderEase automatically, digitizes it, delivers it to your ERP like BlueLink. And for the customers that call in, you know what? If you've got a system like even OrderEase that has a dedicated portal that can be used by customers, reps, inside sales, it's just training the inside sales team to say, hey, if you get a call, you pull up OrderEase, you're going to place that order somewhere at some point anyway. But if you put it into OrderEase, it's going to start sending them, very simple emails to let them know, hey, here's your PO. You could click here to log in. They can start exploring your online portal, but your inside sales team can still use it, put that order in, and it's going to go to BlueLink at the end of the day. They're going to have to get it in somewhere. So if you get into OrderEase, your rep sees it immediately. Your customer has the paper trail if they want to go on and explore, and it's in your ERP system. So that was a really good question, Lauren, as well.
Yeah, that was a great question. I think that was it for questions that I could see here, Kyle.
No problem. Anybody else or potentially hold your peace? Thank you. We're creating a company. That's great, Lauren. So yeah, again,
Yeah.
standardization. Even if you have customers that say we prefer to fill in that Excel form. You need a system that can accommodate that. You know what? Send them the one that you've developed. They fill it in with a specific criteria. It's been mapped by OrderEase. You say, hey, email it in. If that's what you like to do, email it in to us at the order desk. But we'll give you the convenience of those automations and accommodate where your customer is still at with their processes as well. But
Yeah.
give them little hints. Maybe there's ways that they can go in and do it online, just slowly but surely, without kind of moving their hand A to Z right from the get-go.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was, yeah, it for questions, Kyle. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. But like I said, Samantha and I are accessible. We really greatly appreciate everyone that's joined. And if you feel like you want to reach out, schedule some time, we'll make ourselves available. We're always happy to talk and give as much advice or insight on what others are doing, the way industries are moving, and yeah, any way we can help.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thanks, Kyle. I know Harmony will be sending out a recording of this and the slides from the presentation, so keep your eyes open for that and feel free to be in touch.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful remainder of the week.